Excel's pivot table is not as hard as you think it is. The only reason why it seems so hard is because you have not taken out time to watch simplified videos on how to unlock the secret of effectively using the pivot tables. Hello everyone, welcome back again to Excel with Ugo. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to connect the slicers to multiple pivot tables. I would also be showing you how to convert dates into years and months on Excel slicers. I need to point this out. There's a huge difference between grouping dates into years and months on pivot tables and converting dates into years and months on Excel slicers. They are not the same. Guess what? I will also be introducing how to use the text function in pivot tables. Come on, what else have I not done in this video? If this sounds like what you're looking for, then you're definitely in the right place. So let's get started. Excel has even gone ahead to create a good foundation for us by providing us with its recommended pivot tables. All we need to do is to click on the recommended pivot tables, and from the list of the available templates, we have the option to select any template of our choice. So let's select the sum of sales by region and click OK to get us started. Now we already have our report, so we can also adjust the fields. So I'll do a quick formatting here to make this particular table clearer and more readable by putting a comma separator and changing its specific title. Because I'll be copying this table to create other pivot tables, I wouldn't need to repeat the process once this is done. I've done a previous video on pivot tables where I exposed the secret of Excel's pivot tables. In that video, I explain in details a step-by-step guide on how to create your first pivot tables and how to apply proper formatting, which would make your table understandable and presentable. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'll put a link in the description box so that you can go watch it and start creating your own pivot tables. So what I'm going to do next is to copy this particular table and paste to create another pivot table. Simply just type Ctrl+C to copy and Ctrl+V to paste, and you can copy and paste as many tables as you want. You can also go ahead to change your fields based on the data you need insights on or you want to summarize. Since our first table is already the sum of sales by region, let us make the second one the sum of sales by segment. By putting in the segment in the rows area and taking out the region, we can choose to make the third table sum of sales by category by repeating the same process. Now let's say we want to see how these three reports have performed during the years. All we need to do is to go and add our dates as slicers. As with the slicers, we can easily filter these reports to get more insights on a periodic basis. So all I'll do is to go to my pivot table fields, and on the other date I'll right click and click on add as slicer. And if you happen to have a data that is just like mine with the transactions on a daily basis without a clear separation between months and years, you need not to worry, because I will show you how this can be fixed without sweat. So all we need to do is to go back to our source data and use a very simple function, which is the text function, to help us separate our dates into months and years. All I'll be doing is to insert a new column, then call this column years. The text function helps you to change the way a number appears by applying formatting to it. So we'll start by typing equal sign, then type text, open the brackets. The values here will be the order date, and I'll select it and put a comma. And since I want the date to be formatted as years only, what I need to do is to open my inverted commas and type Y in 4 places, which represents years, close the inverted commas, close my bracket, and press enter. And since I also want another section to be shown as month only, all I need to do is to insert another column and title it month. Copy the formula I've already created for the years, then go and change the text from Y to M. And because I want my months to be abbreviated, I will leave it to 3 M's only and press enter. Then we'll go back to our pivot table sheet, click on the pivot table analyze, click on refresh, and click on refresh all. Then we can now see that our years and months have been added to our pivot table fields. So now we can go ahead and add a slicer. We right click the years, select add a slicer, and we can do the same thing for the month. If you don't want to go through this method, you can also go to the pivot table, analyze, and select insert slicer, then select months and click OK. Now we have both slicers. By default, the slicer is connected to only one table. All we need to do is to connect it to other pivot tables so that with just one click, you can see the changes reflect across all your pivot tables. To do that, you right-click on your slicer and select Report Connections. Now you have the option to select whichever table you want to connect. So let's just select Category for now. Click OK. And when we go to change the years on our slicer, you can see that just the regions and the category are affected. But we can go back and include the segment as well. Repeat the same process by right-clicking on the slicer, click on Report Connections, then select the segment and click OK. You can see now that once you change the years on the slicer, all three tables are affected. We can also do the same thing for the month slicer. Right-click, select Report Connections, and select all the tables we want to connect, and click OK. If you think it's too cumbersome having the months and the years on two different slicers, such that you have to select each month and each year separately, take for example, if you want to see the result of the report on May 2022, you will need to select May on one slicer, then go and select 2022 on the other. Or you want to see the result of the report in April 2020, you have to select April on one slicer and 2020 on another slicer. If you feel you prefer to put these years and months in one slicer, this is what you can do. And I'm sure you know what it is. Yes, you guessed right. We'll have to go back to our data table and insert a new column, putting together our years and months like we did separately. So what we need to do is to copy the formula we have created before and adjust the format. And this time around, I'm going to put the years, then put a hyphen and the month and press enter. So we'll go back to our pivot table sheet and refresh all. So now we have our years and months on our pivot table fields. So I have to delete the previous slicers for this to function. And you can see that this has the years and the months in one slicer. But because Excel recognizes this as an alphabet, so the months are arranged alphabetically such that they do not follow serially, like you have the April and August coming before January and February. So what we need to do, therefore, to correct this is to change the months from alphabet to numbers. We'll have to go back to the data table, and where we have M in 3 places, we correct it to 2. And once this is done, you refresh your data again and you'll see that this has changed the months from alphabet to numbers, whereby the months are now arranged serially. So 1 stands for January, 2 for February, and so on and so forth. And if you're okay with this single slicer, go ahead and connect it to other pivot tables. You click on Report Connections, select all the pivot tables you want to connect it to, and click OK. So with this, you don't have to start clicking 2 different slicers. You can just select a particular month and year you're interested to look into, and that's that. You can also go ahead to adjust the size of your slicer by going to the slicer options and increase the columns by 2. So now the choice is yours to make. Do you want to have your slicer in this format or in the previous format? It's left for you to decide. Let me know in the comment section which format you prefer. Some people prefer to have their months and their years in separate slicer like we did initially, and some would rather have it together in one slicer. Well, for me, I think I prefer to have both slicers appear in years and months separately, especially because I'm working with more than 1 year. If I was working with only 1 year, the second option would have been more preferable. How about you? Which one is your preferred format? Just type first or second in the comment section. With these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you, that Excel pivot table is not as hard as you think it is. If you learned something new in this video, please encourage me to continue to do videos like this by hitting the subscribe button, like, share, comment. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in other videos. Bye for now.